Welcome to the Living the Dream podcast with Curveball. If you believe, you can achieve. Welcome to the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast, a show where I interview guests that teach, motivate, and inspire. And today we're going to be talking all things health and fitness as I'm joined by someone with 30 years of experience in the field. She is Dr. Lynn Anderson. She is an author, a yoga therapist, a karma master. She is also a producer. So we're going to be talking to her about her experience and everything that she's done in the field. So Dr. Anderson, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you very much, Curtis. I'm honored to be here with you today.
Well, why don't you start off by telling everybody a little bit about yourself?
Well, you gave me a pretty good introduction, Curtis. I'm also a naturopathic doctor. And like you said, I've been in the fitness and health field for over 30 years. And a little bit about my backstory. I grew up on a small island off the coast of Maine. It's like a little fishing village. And, we kind of did folk medicine. It's what we kind of practiced back there, because we didn't have a doctor in the island. And I kind of grew up around that. So it kind of led me into the natural health field.
So explain to us what a naturopathic doctor is.
Well, a naturopathic doctor, we are teachers. And what we teach is the natural sciences. And the natural sciences are like nutrition and exercise are the basics. And then there's aromatherapy, herbology, color therapy, light therapy, sound therapy, goes on. And a naturopath kind of studies a little bit of all of those, with the foundation being nutrition and exercise. And when we teach and work with people, we believe that you really need to focus and heal body, mind, and soul. You can't heal one without the other. So the approach is to work the body with, let's say, exercise and nutrition and rest. And then we would work the mind, going into the emotional aspect of that, and then the soulful aspect.
So what made you want to get started in this field, this type of work?
Well, it's a lot of life experiences. You grow up in kind of an organic, healthy environment and, kind of gravitate towards that. And then I was single mother. I had 2 children and I was, trying to get through school as best I could to my college education. And I got very stressed, as you can imagine, with 2 kids and no money and trying to work and finish your education, and had some illnesses, and really brought me around to looking at my health and how important it was to me, and that it wasn't just a matter of my body was tired, my mind needed some readjustment, and so did my soul. And that's kind of what got me into it.
So you're also a karma master. Explain your definition of karma and tell everybody what a karma master is.
Okay. Well, I have been practicing and I have been reading about and I have been writing about and I have been teaching karma for almost 30 years. And that's, what a karma master is, someone who has gone through all of those processes and sort of dedicated their work in that direction. And I've taught hundreds and hundreds, thousands of students and written books about all of this. Karma is not about good and bad. That's what most people think it's about. Karma is really cause and effect. It means that if you don't like the effect of something, you should look at the cause, because it's just energy. So when we say, oh, well, if I do that, get bad karma, not necessarily in tomorrow, not necessarily in this lifetime. It's just if you steal something, for example, and let's say you don't get caught, you're still a thief. That's karma.
Well, you also say, and that's a real good summary of karma. but
Mhm.
you also say that there's magic in holistic health. So talk about that a little bit and tell us what you mean by that.
Well, I started out my journey actually as an herbologist, and as an herbologist was back in the day when I was studying it. It was very difficult to find people to help you and to teach you, and so I ended up being taught by people who practice Wicca, which is witchcraft, which is not what people think it is. It's herbal medicine and it's really pagan medicine, and it's using herbs and food and stuff to heal, which is what Hippocrates and all these, ancient people did. So I kind of got involved in a little bit of that. And I learned through that there's this wonderful thing called magic that we all have. We just have to learn how to use it. And when you find it, it's good to give it. And that's what I try to do. That's the magic.
Well, let's talk a little bit about natural sexual health. Tell us what that is and what that means and how people can achieve that.
Well, your sexual health isn't any different than your heart health or your brain health or any other part of your health. It all needs to be fed, it all needs to be taken care of. It's part of who you are. Your hormones and what happens in your body physically and mentally, emotionally, and soulfully has to do has to do really at the basics of nutrition. So when I wrote my book about sex, I wrote it about how to approach biochemistry of who we are as sexual beings, because that's what we are. Whatever you want to define yourself as, you are a sexual being. We all are.
Well, speaking of your books, tell us about the books that you've written and kind of give people a brief description of them.
Well, the books, we recently put them all together. This is 30 years of me writing and putting things together and studying and on and on. And I created two series. One is called the Soul Walking series. And the Soul Walking series is really my book on karma. And there's a second book on prosperity, which just dovetails with karma. So it's the next level of it. And then I have a series called the Naturopathic Health series, and that has my books on, my recipes and my yoga for nutrition, because I do teach the yoga of nutrition, and sexuality would be there.
Well, talk about the yoga of nutrition. Explain to people what that is.
There's a branch of yoga which dedicates itself to understanding how we nourish our body, our mind, and our soul. It's not very well known, and it's something that I did a lot of research on and wrote a book on. And it really, at our fundamental level, we have to have nourishment. That's really important. Without nourishment, we have no vitality. Without vitality, we have no health. Without health, we're dead. So all of nature needs that kind of approach to life, which is more focused on health than, for example, weight or body shape or any of that. It's more of a focus on health in that direction, and your mind and your soul.
Well, you produce some DVDs and a couple other things. So tell people about your DVDs and what they can expect if they check those out, how they can get them.
Well, those, not many people have DVD players anymore. So they are not, do have a box of DVDs that did not get sold, but we were able to take them and they're digital. As a matter of fact, if you have a Amazon Prime membership, mine is one of the free videos that you get with your membership. So you get a series of those things. So it is on Amazon. They can purchase it from my website, which would take them to a digital site where it can be purchased called Platform Purple. But a little bit about them, they're proactive aging exercise programs, and they use a lot of stability ball. I incorporate yoga and dance into it, and more of a therapeutic type of class, so that we really are working on things such as, bone structure and balance and all of that kind of stuff. At the same time, a little bit of mindfulness and a little bit of soulfulness.
Well, give the listeners some tips on what they can do to help avoid burnout.
The first thing is to know that it's coming and to, it's like I tell my students, if something's not useful, if it's not helpful, if it's not beautiful and it doesn't make you helpful, let it go. That's the first thing you have to learn to do, because we take on so much of this stuff, and especially in our society, we're so competitive. And there's so much stress out there for people just to keep going and going and going and not to identify, the signs. And the signs are, they can range anywhere from alcohol abuse to drug abuse to not showing up for work to, sleeping all the time. There are all kinds of different things. It's kind of with an individual.
Give listeners some tips on if they want to get to a more healthier diet.
Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to really kind of do what we call self-control and self-discipline. It's kind of not focusing really on going on a diet, because diets don't work, they fail, but more of a discipline in terms of wanting to first take care of your health, because there's so many wonderful things you can do as a healthy person. You have this wonderful sparkle of sexuality, you have happiness, you have vitality of strength, you have all these wonderful things that it's getting your mind in that direction where that's really what you want to take care of. And it doesn't mean you can't have other, you have to deprive yourself of all of pleasures in life, because as human beings, we are designed to have pleasure. So pleasure is good too, but it's really focusing on health as the main element.
You have any current or upcoming projects that you're working on that people need to know about?
Well, I'm doing a lot of podcasts, and I'm also writing some articles. And so that I'm kind of working on. I am now I'm in Sarasota with Sarasota Memorial Hospital, and I'm going to be doing some lectures for them, community lectures, and which is really great because they're a wonderful hospital that really works hard to integrate health and fitness together.
Go ahead and throw out your contact information, your website again, and how people can stay in touch with you, keep up with everything you're doing, social media, anything that you got.
Sure. There's a couple of things. First, they can go to the website, which is www.drlynn, DoctorLynn.com. Just it's spelled right out. And all of my social media icons are there where you can follow if you want. Instagram, easy to find. Also, they can, when they go to my website, if they want, they can sign up. I send a free monthly newsletter. Everybody's email is protected. It's a little group that I have of people, but I do send out health notices and things that are going on and stuff that might be interesting, some yoga lesson type stuff for people. So they can sign up for the free newsletter. They can also send me an info at drlynn.com and tell me they heard your show and they'd like to take a free yoga class, and I'll get them out a free pass to come to class online.
Well, close us out with some final thoughts, maybe some stuff that we didn't talk about that you would like to talk about, or just any final thoughts that you have.
Well, the only final thoughts that I would have is, like I said earlier, the most important thing in your life is your health and your vitality. I mean, when those are gone, that's it. I don't know anybody who's ill, who is really living a quality of life. And we don't always value that. We get caught up in valuing so many things of the material world and forget what's really important. So I would say to people, that's if you're going to really focus on one thing, keep yourself healthy and vital.
Ladies and gentlemen, drlynn.com. Be sure to follow, rate, review, share this episode to as many people as possible. Android listeners, go to the Google Play Store, download the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast app, and as Dr. Lynn said, stay healthy and vital. Dr. Lynn, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
For more information on the Living the Dream podcast, visit www.djcurveball.com. Until next time, stay focused on living the dream.